You see, there's this temptation we all have to share every little detail of our lives. We live in a world today where people are constantly sharing on social media, in conversations, in passing moments. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to feel connected. And while that's human, there's a fine line between sharing and oversharing, and it's one that you've got to be careful about crossing. You don't owe the world your entire self. Not everything is meant for public consumption. Some things, some parts of you need to be protected, guarded, and cherished. So today I want to talk about 5 things you should never share with anyone. These aren't rules, but lessons learned from life experience, things that, when you hold them close, protect your peace, your progress, and your purpose. Number 1, your plans. Let me tell you something, one of the most common mistakes people make is getting ahead of themselves, talking about their plans too soon. It's easy to do. When you have a vision, when you're excited about something, you want to tell the world. You want to share that spark of hope you've got inside you. But here's the thing, that dream of yours, it's fragile. It's like a newborn baby, delicate and still growing. It needs protection. It needs nurturing. And if you expose it too soon, before it's had a chance to strengthen, it could get crushed. You see, a dream, a plan, an idea, it's all potential. And potential needs time. It needs space to develop, to grow roots before it can stand on its own. But when you start talking about it too early, you risk exposing it to things it's not ready for. Negativity, doubt, and even envy from others can be like poison to a fresh dream. You might think that by sharing your vision, you're just being open, that you're creating excitement, but not everyone you tell is going to have the same reaction. Not everyone is going to feel the way you do. Some people won't understand your vision at all. They'll look at your dream and won't be able to see what you see. They'll question you, tell you it's unrealistic, or say you're aiming too high. And you know what? Sometimes that's all it takes to shake your confidence, to make you second guess yourself. Suddenly that excitement you had turns into doubt. You start thinking, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe this is too much. And in that moment, you've allowed someone else's doubt to cloud your judgment, to weaken your resolve. It's like planting a seed and then constantly digging it up to see if it's growing. You're disrupting the process. Then there's the envy. Not everyone around you is going to want to see you succeed. I know that's hard to hear, but it's the truth. There are people out there who are struggling with their own failures, their own insecurities, and when they see you working towards something, instead of being happy for you, they feel threatened. They might smile to your face, but deep down they don't want to see you win because it reminds them of where they're not. So they throw shade, subtly discourage you, or even sabotage you in ways you don't see coming. You think you're just sharing your excitement, but in reality you're giving them the keys to derail your plans before they've even taken off. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a time and place to share your plans. You're not meant to walk this path alone. There will come a point when you'll need support, advice, maybe even collaboration. But the mistake people make is thinking they need to share too soon. Until your dream is solid, until it's strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet, it's best to keep it to yourself. You need to build it up in private. You need to work on it quietly, without the weight of other people's opinions, without the pressure of proving something to anyone but yourself. Think of it like this: when an artist is working on a masterpiece, they don't invite everyone into the studio while they're still sketching. They don't need an audience when they're in the middle of their process. They wait until the piece is finished, until they're ready to unveil it to the world. And when they do, the world sees the final product, the polished, completed vision, not the rough drafts and unfinished strokes that came before it. That's what you need to do with your dreams. Work in the shadows and the quiet, where no one can interfere with your process. And then when you're ready, let your success speak for itself. There's power in silence. There's power in holding your cards close to your chest in working diligently behind the scenes. Because here's the truth: when you're working in silence, you're working without distractions. You're focused. You're not performing for anyone. You're not worried about what anyone thinks or how they're going to react. You're simply building, creating, moving closer to your goal. And when you finally reveal what you've been working on, it's not a dream anymore, it's a reality. It's something that's ready to stand on its own without needing validation from anyone else. Success doesn't need an announcement. Success makes its own noise. The moment you achieve what you've been working toward, people will notice. They'll see the results. And the results will speak louder than any words ever could. But if you spend all your time talking about what you're going to do instead of actually doing it, you run the risk of being all talk and no action. You run the risk of letting your energy get wasted on impressing people with words instead of with results. It's like running a race. You don't start bragging at the starting line about how fast you're going to finish. You don't start celebrating before you've crossed the finish line. No. You keep your head down, you focus on the path ahead, and you run your race. You run with everything you've got. And when you cross that finish line, then you celebrate. Because you've earned it. You've completed the journey. But you don't get ahead of yourself. You don't let distractions pull you away from what matters: the work, the process, the grind. So keep your plans close. Share them with only those you trust completely. Those who genuinely want to see you succeed and will support you along the way. But even then, be cautious. Know that your dream is your responsibility, and it's up to you to protect it. Not everyone is going to see what you see, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to. Your dream is yours. It's your vision, your mission, and your life's work. Work in silence. Nurture your plans in private. Let them grow strong before you expose them to the world. Because when your dream is fully realized, when it's ready, it won't need an introduction. The world will see the results, and your actions will speak for themselves. So guard your plans. Protect them like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. 2, your personal struggles. Everybody's got struggles. Life is hard, and that's a truth we can't avoid. We all face moments when it feels like everything is coming down on us at once. The days when we can't seem to catch a break, when the pressure builds and weighs on our spirit, pushing us to the point where we feel like we can't keep going. It's a reality for every person walking this earth. But here's the thing: just because you're going through something doesn't mean you have to put it all on display for the world to see. There's a quiet strength in handling your struggles with privacy. Now, I'm not telling you to hold everything inside and try to be some kind of superhero. Everyone needs help, and we all need people who have our back when times get rough. But your personal struggles, the things that truly challenge you at your core, don't need to be public information. Not every battle you fight needs to be shared with everyone. You've got to learn to discern who deserves to know what's really going on with you. Because when you open up to the wrong people, you risk putting yourself in a vulnerable position, one where people might judge you, criticize you, or worse, use your weaknesses against you. You see, people love to talk. And when you share your struggles with someone who doesn't really understand you, or someone who doesn't genuinely care about your well-being, it opens the door for them to twist your story. They take bits and pieces of what you've shared and turn them into something that suits their own narrative. Before you know it, your personal battle becomes the latest topic of conversation for folks who don't have your best interests at heart. They'll speculate, they'll gossip, and they'll make assumptions about you that have nothing to do with who you really are or what you're truly going through. That's why privacy is key. Not everyone is qualified to give you the advice or support you need. Not everyone is even equipped to understand your journey. And when you share too much with the wrong people, their opinions start to shape how you see yourself. Their judgments can creep into your mind, making you doubt yourself even more than you already do. And in that space of doubt, you might start to believe the lies they've built around your struggles, instead of holding on to the truth of who you are and what you're capable of overcoming. Your struggles are personal. They are a part of your story, yes, but they don't define you. They are not a measurement of your worth or your ability. Just because you're going through something doesn't mean you are less than. But too often, when you share your hardships with everyone, people start to box you in based on that one chapter of your life. They label you by your lowest moments. And that's not fair, but it's the reality of how people work. They see a fraction of your story and act like they've read the whole book. That's why it's so important to guard your struggles. You don't have to make your battles anyone else's business unless they've earned the right to carry that weight with you. It's not about shutting people out, it's about being selective. It's about knowing who truly has your back, who will stand with you in the tough times without judgment, and who will help you carry the load when it feels like too much to bear alone. Those are the people you want in your corner. Those are the ones who will offer you real support, not just empty sympathy or unsolicited advice. When you keep your struggles private, you maintain control over your narrative. You don't give people the power to turn your hardships into a storyline for their entertainment. You protect yourself from the scrutiny that comes when others feel entitled to your pain. And more importantly, you give yourself the space to heal, to process, and to grow without the noise of outside opinions clouding your judgment. You get to sit with your struggle, understand it, and face it on your own terms. Now, don't misunderstand me. There's no shame in reaching out for help when you need it. In fact, it takes courage to admit that you can't carry everything on your own. But there's a difference between seeking support and broadcasting your struggles for the world to see. Not every listener is there to help. Some are just there for the drama. And when you expose your vulnerability to people who don't truly care about your well-being, you end up feeling even more isolated because their responses aren't what you need. Instead of offering support, they offer pity, or worse, judgment. And that's not what you need when you're going through a tough time. So be selective. Choose wisely who you share your struggles with. Lean on the people who've proven that they're in your corner for the long haul, the ones who will stand with you through the highs and the lows. Those are the people who will offer you real, meaningful support, the kind that lifts you up instead of tearing you down. They won't judge you for your struggles, and they won't use them as ammunition against you. They'll help you carry the weight, and they'll remind you of your strength when you've forgotten it yourself. At the end of the day, your struggles are your own. They are a part of your journey, but they are not the whole story. And they certainly don't need to be shared with the world at large. Instead of giving everyone a front row seat to your battles, take a step back. Protect your peace. Protect your mental and emotional space. Share your burdens with those who have earned the right to walk alongside you, but don't feel obligated to let everyone in, because not everyone deserves that access to your life. Remember, privacy is power. There's strength in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. There's wisdom in understanding that not every part of your life needs to be open for public consumption. Your struggles are part of what makes you who you are, but they are not the definition of who you are. And as you navigate those tough times, keep your circle tight and protect the parts of your journey that are still unfolding. The world doesn't need to know your every battle. They don't need to see every tear or hear every hardship. What the world will see in time is your resilience. They'll see the strength you've built in the quiet moments, the strength you've cultivated when no one was watching. And when you emerge on the other side of your struggle, stronger and more determined than ever, that's when you can share the lessons you've learned, not the pain you endured. Because the story of your survival is yours to tell. And it's a story that doesn't need to be written in the middle of your battle, but after you've come through the other side. 3, your finances. Money is a tricky subject. People love to talk about it, flash it around, or ask questions about what you've got going on financially. But here's the truth: your financial situation is nobody's business but yours. Whether you're living paycheck to paycheck or you've got more than enough, the details of your finances are personal, and they should stay that way. The moment you start sharing too much, you open yourself up to a world of unnecessary complications. We all know people who like to show off their wealth. They want everybody to see what they've got: the fancy car, the big house, the expensive vacations. They want the world to know they're doing well. But let me tell you, there's a danger in that. The more you put your financial success on display, the more attention you attract. And not all of that attention is going to be good. Some people will see your success and congratulate you, but others, they'll see an opportunity. Not everyone around you has good intentions, and if you're not careful, they'll find a way to get a piece of what you've worked so hard to earn. There's always somebody looking to take advantage. The more you broadcast what you have, the more you become a target for people who are envious or opportunistic. They might come to you asking for favors, pretending to be your friend, but deep down, they're only interested in what they can get from you. And before you know it, if you're not careful, you'll be drained emotionally, mentally, and financially. It's a slow process, one that can sneak up on you if you're not paying attention. And let's flip the script for a second. What happens when you're struggling financially and you start telling people about it? That's just as dangerous, if not more. When you let the wrong people in on your financial difficulties, you open the door to all kinds of judgment, pity, and manipulation. People love to talk, and they're quick to gossip. Once you share your financial struggles, you give them ammunition to spread rumors or cast judgment on you. Suddenly, your private struggles become public knowledge, and you're not in control of the narrative anymore. Some folks will even pretend to offer help, but their help comes with strings attached. They might lend you money, but now they've got something to hold over your head. They'll act like they're doing you a favor, but they'll expect something in return. It might not be immediate, but trust me, they'll collect eventually. And once they've got that hold on you, it's hard to break free. The thing about money is that it's a tool. It's a resource that you use to live your life, but it's not something that needs to define you or your relationships with others. When you start sharing too much about your finances, you risk letting it take over how people see you, how they treat you, and even how they approach you. Whether you have a lot or a little, your financial situation shouldn't be the reason people are drawn to you or pushed away from you. That's why it's so important to keep your finances private. It's not about being secretive, it's about being smart. You don't need to broadcast every financial win or struggle to the world. You don't need to explain yourself or let anyone in on your financial details unless it's absolutely necessary. The only people who should know the ins and outs of your finances are those you trust completely, people who have your best interests at heart, people who will give you sound advice and won't use your financial situation to manipulate or take advantage of you. And when it comes to money, trust is key. Whether you're discussing investments, debts, savings, or spending, the people you talk to about your finances should be people you know will keep that information confidential. These are the people who won't gossip behind your back, who won't judge you based on your bank account, and who won't try to get something out of you just because you're in a certain financial situation. In today's world, we're surrounded by social media and constant pressure to share everything about our lives. But when it comes to your finances, you need to resist that urge. You don't owe anyone explanation for how you're living, what you're spending, or how much you're earning. And the less you share, the more control you keep over your life. Because here's the thing, once you let someone into that part of your life, you're giving them power to judge, power to manipulate, and power to spread your business where it doesn't belong. So whether you're financially comfortable or you're working through some struggles, keep that information close. Guard it. Not everyone needs to know what's going on with your money. The only time you should be discussing your finances is when it's with someone you trust completely, someone who's in your corner for the right reasons. Don't fall into the trap of oversharing or trying to keep up with others. just because it seems like everyone else is putting their financial life on display. In the end, your finances are just one part of your life. They don't define you. They don't determine your worth. And they certainly don't need to be the reason people are drawn to or distanced from you. Keep that part of your life private, and you'll find that you have more peace, more control, and fewer people trying to take advantage of you. Your money, your business. Keep it that way. 4, your good deeds. There's something truly special about doing good in the world, helping others, giving back, and making a difference in someone else's life. When you reach out to lift someone up, when you offer kindness without expecting anything in return, you're making the world just a little bit better. But here's where people often get it wrong. Your good deeds don't need to be shouted from the rooftops. In fact, the most meaningful acts of kindness are often done in silence, without fanfare, without a spotlight. The moment you start talking about every good thing you do, the purpose behind it shifts. Instead of focusing on the people you're helping or the difference you're making, it becomes about you. It becomes about how others perceive you, about boosting your image or feeding your ego. And that's not why we do good, is it? The intention behind kindness should never be about getting recognition or praise. When your actions become performative, when they're done for applause or approval, they lose a bit of their purity. True generosity comes from a place of love, empathy, and understanding. It's about connecting with another human being and recognizing their worth, even when the world might have overlooked them. When you give to others, whether it's your time, money, or a simple act of kindness, the power of that act lies in the intention behind it, not in who knows about it. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of wanting others to see the good you're doing. But the most profound good often happens quietly in the moments that no one else witnesses. There's an old saying, the left hand shouldn't know what the right hand is doing. This means that when you give, when you perform an act of kindness, it should be so natural, so effortless, that it doesn't even occur to you to tell anyone about it. You're not doing it for validation, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. When you keep your good deeds private, they remain pure, untouched by the need for approval or recognition. They stay true to their original purpose. That's not to say that you should never talk about the good you're doing. There are certainly times when sharing your story can inspire others to act, when it can bring attention to important causes or spark meaningful conversations. Sometimes, by sharing your journey, you can encourage others to get involved, to give back, to care about something larger than themselves. But those moments are rare, and they should come from a place of sincerity, not self-promotion. Most of the time, the real power of your good deeds comes from the fact that they were done quietly without expecting anything in return. There's something beautiful about helping someone and knowing that no one else needs to know about it. It's like planting a seed. You don't need to see it grow to know that you've done something worthwhile. The act itself is enough. You don't need applause to validate your kindness. The impact is felt whether or not anyone else is aware of it. When you start broadcasting your charitable work, it can cheapen the act. It turns something that should be selfless into something performative. Instead of being about the people you're helping, it becomes about the attention you're seeking. And while it might feel good to receive recognition for doing good, that's not the reason we do it. If your motivation for helping others is rooted in how it makes you look, then you're missing the point entirely. The most genuine acts of kindness are done with no expectation of repayment, no hope for praise. They come from the heart, from a desire to make the world a better place. And often, those acts go unnoticed by the rest of the world. But that doesn't make them any less impactful. In fact, sometimes the most significant changes happen when no one is watching. You never know how far a single act of kindness can ripple through someone's life. Keeping your good deeds private doesn't mean you're hiding them. It means you understand that the value of what you do doesn't depend on who knows about it. The world doesn't need to applaud you for you to know you've done something meaningful. The person you helped, the difference you made, that's the true reward. The gratitude you see in someone's eyes, the relief in their voice, that's the recognition that matters. So the next time you find yourself doing something good, Pause for a moment before you share it. Ask yourself why you feel the need to tell others. If it's to inspire or to spread awareness, then share with purpose. But if it's for validation, consider holding on to that moment for yourself. Let it be a quiet victory, a reminder that you're making a difference in the world without needing anyone else's approval. Because in the end, the impact of what you do doesn't depend on who knows about it. It depends on the intention behind it and the lives you touch along the way. 5, your next move. In life, your next move is everything. It's the step that could define your future, open doors you never thought possible, and push you closer to your dreams. But here's the critical part: never share your next move before you make it. Life is like a chess game, and every move is part of your strategy. If you start broadcasting your intentions too early, you give others the chance to interfere. And trust me, not everyone around you is rooting for your success. You might think that sharing your plans with friends, family, or colleagues will rally support, but that's not always the case. Some people, maybe even those close to you, don't want to see you rise. Your success can feel like a threat to them, a reminder of what they aren't doing, what they haven't accomplished. And that's when jealousy starts to creep in. They might not outright sabotage you, but they can plant seeds of doubt, give you advice that leads you off course, or talk you out of taking risks that are necessary for your growth. When you reveal your next move, you expose yourself to criticism. Everybody suddenly has an opinion about what you should or shouldn't do. And while some feedback might be well-intentioned, other comments can be laced with negativity, discouragement, or even envy. People might tell you your plan won't work, that it's too risky, or that you should play it safe. They'll project their fears onto you. And if you're not careful, you'll start second-guessing yourself. That hesitation, that doubt, can be enough to derail your entire plan. By keeping your next move private, you maintain control. You decide when and how things unfold. You don't have to answer to anyone or explain yourself before you're ready. You move in silence. And when the time is right, you let the results speak for themselves. It's a powerful way to stay ahead of the game, because while others are busy speculating or trying to figure out what you're up to, you're already executing, already advancing. Think about it this way: if you were playing a game of chess, would you tell your opponent your strategy before making a move? Of course not. You'd keep your plan close to your chest, making moves based on what's best for you, not worrying about how others will react. Life is no different. You don't owe anyone a preview of your next step. Sometimes the best way to protect your dreams is by keeping them private until they've fully developed. There's also a level of freedom that comes with keeping your moves to yourself. When you're not weighed down by other people's opinions, you're able to act confidently, trusting your own instincts and judgment. You're not seeking validation or approval, because you know that the only person who truly understands the importance of your next move is you. That freedom allows you to take risks that others might not understand, to step out of your comfort zone without needing to explain why. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should live in isolation or shut people out completely. Life is about connection, and there's value in sharing with the people who matter. But it's about discernment. It's about knowing who to trust, when to share, and when to keep things close. Not everyone deserves to know your plans, and not every idea needs to be aired before it's had time to mature. Some things need to be nurtured in private before they're revealed to the world. When you keep your moves private, you're also giving yourself the space to pivot if necessary. Plans change, life throws curveballs, and sometimes the path you thought you were on shifts. If you've shared your every intention with others, there's a pressure to stick to what you said, even if it's no longer the right course. But when you've kept things to yourself, you have the flexibility to adjust, to change directions without having to explain or justify it to anyone. So as you navigate through life, remember that your next move is yours and yours alone. You don't owe anyone an explanation or a roadmap of where you're headed. Focus on making the best decisions for yourself and trust that the results will speak louder than any words ever could. Move in silence. And when it's time, let your actions show the world exactly what you're capable of. That's the real power of being able to navigate your journey without letting others influence or derail your path. At the end of the day, it's not about keeping secrets or shutting people out. It's about protecting what's most precious to you, your dreams, your goals, your vision for the future. There's a time for sharing, but there's also a time for holding things close, for letting your next move be something only you know. That's where your strength lies, in your ability to move strategically, to stay focused, and to keep pushing forward without allowing others to interfere. When you do reveal your move, let it be after it's already in motion, when you've built something solid that no one can tear down. Then, and only then, will the world see what you've been working on. And by that point, it will be too late for anyone to stop you. So as you move forward in life, remember these 5 things: your plans, your struggles, your finances, your good deeds, and your next move. Guard them. Not because you're hiding them, but because they're yours, and they deserve to be nurtured, respected, and kept safe. And when the time is right, when you built what you set out to build, when you've overcome what you've been facing, when you've succeeded in the ways you've dreamed of, let your actions speak for you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you share. It's about what you do. Thank you. Hey there, have you ever wondered why some people seem to command respect effortlessly while others struggle to gain the admiration and esteem of those around them? Well, today I'm here to shed light on 4 awful habits that might be sabotaging your efforts to earn the respect you deserve. These habits can sneakily creep into your life without you even realizing it, slowly eroding the foundation of respect that you've worked so hard to build. But don't worry, because by the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge and tools necessary to identify and eliminate these respect-killing habits from your life once and for all. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty details, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt disrespected or undervalued by others? Maybe it was at work, where your colleagues seemed to dismiss your ideas without giving them a fair chance. Or perhaps it was in your personal life, where your friends or family members consistently talked over you or ignored your opinions. If you've experienced these scenarios, you know firsthand how frustrating and demoralizing it can be to feel like you're not being given the respect you deserve. But here's the thing: respect isn't something that's handed out freely. It's earned through your actions, your words, and the way you carry yourself. And unfortunately, there are certain habits that can quickly derail your efforts to gain respect, no matter how hard you try. These habits are like silent assassins, slowly chipping away at your credibility and making it harder for others to see you as someone worthy of their admiration and esteem. So what are these 4 awful habits that make people disrespect you? Well, buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into each one of them. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll have a newfound appreciation for the power of your own actions and the impact they can have on the way others perceive you. The first habit that can make people disrespect you is a lack of integrity. Integrity is the foundation upon which respect is built. It's the quality of being honest, trustworthy, and consistent in your actions and words. When you lack integrity, people start to question your motives and your reliability. They begin to wonder if they can trust you to follow through on your commitments, or if you'll say one thing and do another. Think about it this way: if you consistently make promises that you don't keep, or if you're caught in lies or half-truths, how can anyone trust you? How can they respect you when they don't know if they can believe a word that comes out of your mouth? Integrity is like the glue that holds your relationships together. Without it, everything falls apart. So, if you want to earn the respect of those around you, you need to make integrity a non-negotiable part of your character. You need to be honest even when it's difficult. You need to follow through on your commitments even when it's inconvenient. And you need to be consistent in your actions even when no one is watching. But here's the thing: integrity isn't something you can fake. It's not a mask you can put on when it's convenient and take off when it's not. It's a way of life, a commitment to being the best version of yourself, even when it's hard. And when you live with integrity, people notice they see you as someone they can trust, someone they can count on, and someone they can respect. The second habit that can make people disrespect you is a lack of self-respect. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait a minute, I thought this was about how to earn the respect of others, not about respecting myself. But here's the thing, the way you treat yourself is a reflection of how you expect others to treat you. Think about it this way. If you constantly put yourself down, if you engage in negative self-talk or allow others to walk all over you, what message are you sending to the world? You're telling people that you don't value yourself, that you don't believe you're worthy of respect. And if you don't respect yourself, how can you expect anyone else to respect you? Self-respect is about setting boundaries, standing up for yourself, and treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would extend to a dear friend. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than you deserve. When you have self-respect, you carry yourself differently. You walk with your head held high, confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. You speak up when something doesn't feel right, and you're not afraid to say no when something doesn't align with your values or goals. And here's the beautiful thing, when you respect yourself, others can't help but respect you too. They see the way you treat yourself, and they instinctively know that you're not someone to be trifled with. They understand that you have standards and expectations for how you want to be treated, and they rise to meet those expectations. So if you want to earn the respect of others, start by respecting yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and dignity that you would extend to someone you deeply admire. Set boundaries, stand up for yourself, and refuse to settle for anything less than you deserve. When you do, you'll find that respect becomes a natural byproduct of the way you live your life. The third habit that can make people disrespect you is a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to understand their perspective and feelings, even if they differ from your own. When you lack empathy, you come across as cold, disconnected, and uncaring. You give the impression that you're only interested in your own needs and desires, and that you don't care about the impact your actions have on others. Think about a time when you've interacted with someone who lacked empathy. Maybe it was a boss who consistently dismissed your concerns, or a friend who always managed to make the conversation about themselves. How did that make you feel? Chances are you felt unheard, unvalued, and disrespected. Now, imagine being on the other side of that interaction. Imagine being the person who lacks empathy, who consistently puts their own needs above others, who fails to consider how their words and actions might be impacting those around them. How do you think that comes across to others? Do you think it inspires respect and admiration, or does it breed resentment and disdain? Empathy is the key to building strong, respectful relationships. When you take the time to understand others, to listen to their perspectives and concerns, you show them that you value them as human beings. You demonstrate that you're not just interested in what they can do for you, but that you genuinely care about their well-being and happiness. And here's the thing, empathy isn't just about being nice or agreeable. It's about having the courage to have difficult conversations, to stand up for what's right, even when it's unpopular. It's about being willing to put yourself in someone else's shoes, even when their experiences and perspectives are vastly different from your own. When you cultivate empathy, you become a better leader, a better friend, and a better human being. You inspire others to be their best selves, and you create a culture of respect and understanding that permeates every aspect of your life. So, if you want to earn the respect of those around you, start by practicing empathy. Take the time to listen, to understand, and to consider the perspectives of others. Show them that you value them as human beings and that you're willing to put in the work to build strong, respectful relationships. When you do, you'll find that respect becomes a natural byproduct of the way you interact with the world. The fourth and final habit that can make people disrespect you is a lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to understand your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how they impact those around you. When you lack self-awareness, you're like a bull in a china shop, crashing through life without any regard for the damage you might be causing. Think about it this way. Have you ever been in a meeting where someone consistently interrupted others or talked over them? Or have you ever had a friend who always managed to make everything about themselves, no matter what the conversation was about? Chances are those people lacked self-awareness. They were so caught up in their own thoughts and desires that they failed to consider how their actions were impacting those around them. Now, imagine being that person. Imagine going through life without any awareness of how your words and actions are being perceived by others. Imagine consistently offending or alienating people without even realizing it. How do you think that would impact your relationships and your ability to earn respect? Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth and development. It's the key to understanding your own strengths and weaknesses and to making the changes necessary to become the best version of yourself. When you're self-aware, you're able to see yourself objectively, to understand how your actions and behaviors are impacting those around you, and to make adjustments as needed. And here's the thing, self-awareness isn't something that comes naturally to most people. It's a skill that needs to be developed and cultivated over time. It requires a willingness to be honest with yourself, to seek out feedback from others, and to make changes when necessary. But when you do the work to become more self-aware, the payoff is immense. You become a better communicator, a better leader, and a better friend. You're able to build stronger, more respectful relationships and to create a life that aligns with your deepest values and goals. So, if you want to earn the respect of those around you, start by cultivating self-awareness. Take the time to understand your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how they impact those around you. Seek out feedback from others and be willing to make changes when necessary. When you do, you'll find that respect becomes a natural byproduct of the way you show up in the world. Now, I know that cultivating these habits of integrity, self-respect, empathy, and self-awareness can be a daunting task. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to take an honest look at yourself, and to make changes when necessary. But here's the thing, the rewards are so worth it. When you live with integrity, when you respect yourself and others, when you cultivate empathy and self-awareness, you become a beacon of light in a world that can often feel dark and chaotic. You inspire others to be their best selves, and you create a ripple effect of positivity and respect that touches everyone around you. And here's the beautiful thing, respect isn't something that's finite or scarce. It's not something that you have to hoard or guard jealously. In fact, the more respect you give to others, the more respect you'll receive in return. It's a virtuous cycle that feeds on itself, creating a culture of kindness, compassion, and understanding. So my challenge to you today is this: take a hard look at yourself and your habits. Ask yourself if you're living with integrity, if you're respecting yourself and others, if you're cultivating empathy and self-awareness. And if you find that you're falling short in any of these areas, don't beat yourself up. Remember, personal growth is a journey, not a destination. Instead, commit to making small changes every day. Start by being honest with yourself and others, even when it's hard. Practice treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would extend to a dear friend. Take the time to listen to others, to understand their perspectives and concerns. And seek out feedback from trusted friends and mentors so that you can continue to grow and develop as a person. When you do these things, when you make these habits a non-negotiable part of your life, you'll find that respect becomes a natural byproduct of the way you show up in the world. You'll inspire others to be their best selves, and you'll create a culture of kindness, compassion, and understanding that touches everyone around you. So, my friends, let's make a commitment today to live with integrity, to respect ourselves and others, to cultivate empathy and self-awareness, and to create a world where respect is the norm, not the exception. Let's be the change we wish to see in the world, and let's do it together. Thank you for listening, and remember, the power to earn respect lies within you. Use it wisely and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but wait, I've been trying to earn respect for years and it hasn't worked. What makes you so sure that these habits will make a difference? And to that, I say, fair point. Earning respect isn't always easy, and it's not something that happens overnight. But here's the thing, when you consistently practice these habits of integrity, self-respect, empathy, and self-awareness, you start to see a shift in the way people treat you. It might start small, with a colleague who starts to listen more attentively when you speak, or a friend who goes out of their way to show you kindness and support. But over time, these small changes start to add up. You start to notice that people are more willing to collaborate with you, to seek out your opinions and insights, and to treat you with the respect and dignity that you deserve. And here's the really cool part: when you start to earn respect from others, it has a ripple effect on every aspect of your life. You start to feel more confident and self-assured, more willing to take risks and pursue your dreams. You start to attract people who share your values and your commitment to personal growth, and you start to build a community of like-minded individuals who support and encourage you every step of the way. But of course, earning respect isn't just about what you get from others. It's also about what you give to the world. When you live with integrity, when you treat yourself and others with respect, when you cultivate empathy and self-awareness, you become a force for good in the world. You start to make a positive impact on the lives of those around you, and you start to create a legacy that will endure long after you're gone. Think about some of the most respected people in history, people like Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, and Mother Teresa. These individuals weren't perfect, but they lived their lives with a deep commitment to integrity, compassion, and service to others. They inspired millions of people around the world to be their best selves, and they left a lasting impact on the world that continues to be felt to this day. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a world-renowned leader or a saint to earn respect. But I am saying that when you live your life with purpose and intention, When you make these habits of respect a non-negotiable part of who you are, you start to create a ripple effect that touches everyone around you. So how do you start to cultivate these habits in your own life? Well, the first step is to get clear on your values and your priorities. What's most important to you? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? Once you have a sense of your values and priorities, the next step is to start aligning your actions with them. This means being honest with yourself and others, even when it's uncomfortable. It means treating yourself with kindness and compassion, even when you're feeling down or discouraged. It means taking the time to listen to others, to understand their perspectives and concerns, even when you disagree with them. And it means being willing to seek out feedback and make changes when necessary, even when it's hard. Of course, cultivating these habits of respect isn't always easy. There will be times when you fall short, when you make mistakes or let someone down. But the key is to remember that personal growth is a journey, not a destination. It's about progress, not perfection. So when you do stumble or fall short, don't beat yourself up. Instead, take a moment to reflect on what happened, to learn from your mistakes, and to recommit to your values and priorities. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. There are countless others out there who are working to cultivate these same habits of respect, who are striving to be their best selves and make a positive impact on the world. One of the best ways to stay motivated and accountable on this journey is to surround yourself with people who share your values and your commitment to personal growth. This might mean joining a community of like-minded individuals, whether it's a professional network, a volunteer organization, or a personal development group. It might mean seeking out mentors or coaches who can offer guidance and support along the way. Or it might simply mean being intentional about the people you spend your time with and choosing to surround yourself with those who lift you up and inspire you to be your best self. Another key to cultivating these habits of respect is to practice gratitude and appreciation. When you take the time to acknowledge and appreciate the good things in your life, whether it's a supportive friend, a meaningful career, or a beautiful sunset, you start to shift your focus away from what's lacking and towards what's abundant. You start to cultivate a sense of contentment and joy that radiates outward, touching everyone around you. And when you make gratitude and appreciation a regular practice, you start to notice a shift in the way you show up in the world. You become more patient, more compassionate, more willing to give others the benefit of the doubt. You start to see the best in people, even when they're struggling or making mistakes. And you start to create a culture of respect and appreciation that lifts everyone up. Of course, cultivating these habits of respect isn't just about what happens in your personal life. It's also about how you show up in your professional life, in your community, and in the world at large. It's about using your platform and your influence to create positive change, to advocate for justice and equality, and to be a voice for those who may not have one. This might mean speaking up when you see something that isn't right, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. It might mean using your skills and resources to make a difference in your community, whether it's volunteering at a local nonprofit or mentoring a young person who needs guidance and support. Or it might mean using your voice and your influence to advocate for causes that matter to you, whether it's environmental sustainability, social justice, or any other issue that you feel called to address. When you make these habits of respect a core part of who you are, when you use your platform and your influence to create positive change in the world, you start to create a legacy that will endure long after you're gone. You start to inspire others to be their best selves, to stand up for what's right, and to create a world that's more just, more compassionate, and more respectful for all. So my friends, let's make a commitment today to cultivate these habits of respect in our own lives and to use our influence and our platform to create positive change in the world. Let's be the leaders and the change makers that our world so desperately needs, and let's do it with integrity, compassion, and a deep respect for ourselves and others. And remember, this journey of personal growth and respect isn't always easy. There will be challenges and setbacks along the way. But when you stay committed to your values and your priorities, when you surround yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you to be your best self, and when you make gratitude and appreciation a regular practice, you start to create a life that's rich with meaning, purpose, and respect. So let's get out there and start living our lives with intention and purpose. Let's be the change we wish to see in the world, and let's do it together. Because when we all commit to cultivating these habits of respect, when we all use our influence and our platform to create positive change, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Thank you for listening, and remember, the power to earn respect and create a better world lies within each and every one of us. Let's use it wisely, and let's start today. Have you ever been told that kindness is a virtue? That being kind will bring you happiness, success, and fulfillment? Well, I'm here to tell you that kindness can actually ruin your life. Yes, you heard me right. Kindness can be your downfall. Let me explain how. First, when you're too kind, people start to take advantage of you. They see your kindness as a weakness and they'll exploit it for their own gain. They'll ask for favors, borrow money, and expect you to drop everything to help them. And because you're kind, you'll say yes, even when it's inconvenient or detrimental to your own well-being. You'll find yourself stretched thin, exhausted, and resentful, all because you couldn't say no. I've seen it happen time and time again. People who are too kind end up being taken for granted. They're the ones who are always there for others, but when they need help themselves, no one is around. They give and give until they have nothing left to give. And then they're left alone and empty. But it's not just about being taken advantage of. When you're too kind, you also miss out on opportunities to stand up for yourself and assert your own needs. You're so busy putting others first that you forget about your own dreams and goals. You sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of others, and in the end, you're left with nothing but regrets. Second, kindness can make you a pushover. When you're always putting others' needs before your own, you send a message that your own needs don't matter. People will start to expect you to agree with them, to go along with their plans, and to never rock the boat. They'll see you as someone who can be easily manipulated and controlled. And when you do try to assert yourself, people will be shocked and offended. They'll accuse you of being selfish or unkind because they've come to expect you to always put their needs first. They'll guilt trip you into submission, and you'll find yourself right back where you started, a doormat for others to walk all over. I know it's hard to break out of this pattern. It feels good to be liked and appreciated, and it's tempting to keep doing what others expect of you. But in the long run, it's not sustainable. You'll end up feeling resentful, unfulfilled, and even angry. You'll start to question why you're always the one making sacrifices, and you'll wonder what your life would be like if you put yourself first for once. Third, kindness can hold you back from success. In today's cutthroat world, nice guys often finish last. To get ahead, you need to be assertive, competitive, and sometimes even ruthless. You need to be willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, and to put your own interests first. But when you're too kind, you're often hesitant to do these things. You don't want to step on anyone's toes or hurt anyone's feelings. You don't want to be seen as aggressive or selfish. So you hold back, you play it safe, and you miss out on opportunities to advance your career or achieve your goals. I've seen so many talented, hardworking people get passed over for promotions or big breaks because they were too nice. They didn't want to rock the boat or ruffle any feathers, so they stayed quiet and let others take the credit. They didn't want to be seen as cutthroat or competitive, so they didn't go after what they really wanted. But here's the thing, success isn't handed out based on who's the nicest. It's earned through hard work, determination, and a willingness to take risks. If you're always putting others first and sacrificing your own ambitions, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll always be held back by your own kindness. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, kindness can prevent you from being honest and authentic. When you're too focused on being kind and not hurting anyone's feelings, you start to censor yourself. You hold back your true thoughts and opinions, and you present a watered-down version of yourself to the world. But here's the thing people can sense when you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're holding back or sugarcoating the truth. And over time, they start to lose trust in you. They start to wonder what you really think and feel, and they question whether they can rely on you to be honest with them. Moreover, when you're constantly suppressing your true self in the name of kindness, you start to lose touch with who you really are. You become disconnected from your own thoughts, feelings, and desires. You start to feel like a fraud, like you're living someone else's life instead of your own. And that's no way to live. It's exhausting, unfulfilling, and ultimately unsustainable. You can't be truly happy or successful if you're not being true to yourself. You can't build deep, meaningful relationships if you're not being honest and authentic. So what's the solution? How can you avoid the pitfalls of kindness while still being a good person? The answer is simple balance. You need to find a way to be kind and compassionate while also setting boundaries and taking care of yourself. That means learning to say no when you need to, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. It means speaking up for yourself and asserting your own needs and desires, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. It means being honest and authentic, even if it means having difficult conversations or facing some conflict. It's not easy, I know. It takes practice and courage to break out of the pattern of overkindness, but trust me, it's worth it. When you learn to balance kindness with self-care and authenticity, you'll be amazed at how much better your life becomes. You'll have more energy and enthusiasm for the things that matter to you. You'll build deeper, more meaningful relationships with people who truly value and respect you. You'll achieve more success and fulfillment in your career and personal life. And most importantly, you'll feel more at peace with yourself and the world around you. So don't let kindness ruin your life. Learn to be kind in a way that nurtures and supports your own well-being. Set boundaries, speak your truth, and take care of yourself first. Because at the end of the day, the greatest kindness you can show to the world is to be the best, most authentic version of yourself. And that, my friends, is how kindness can ruin your life if you're not careful. But it doesn't have to be that way. With a little wisdom and a lot of courage, you can learn to be kind in a way that empowers and uplifts you. So go out there and be kind, but remember to be kind to yourself first. Because when you do that, everything else will fall into place. Let me share a personal story with you. When I was younger, I used to be the epitome of kindness. I would go out of my way to help others, even if it meant sacrificing my own time, energy, and resources. I thought that being kind would make me happy and fulfilled, but instead it left me feeling drained and resentful. I remember one particular instance where a friend asked me to help them move. I had my own plans that weekend, but I didn't want to let them down. So I canceled my plans and spent the entire weekend lugging heavy boxes and furniture up and down stairs. By the end of it, I was exhausted and sore, and I felt like I had wasted my precious free time. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that my friend didn't even seem particularly grateful. They thanked me briefly, but then they went on with their life as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, I was left feeling used and unappreciated. That experience was a wake-up call for me. I realized that I had been so focused on being kind to others that I had neglected to be kind to myself. I had put everyone else's needs before my own, and as a result, I was burning out. From that moment on, I started to make a conscious effort to balance my kindness with self-care. I started saying no to requests that didn't align with my own priorities and values. I started setting boundaries with people who tried to take advantage of my kindness. And I started being more honest and authentic in my interactions with others. It wasn't easy at first. I felt guilty and selfish for putting my own needs first. I worried that people would think I was unkind or uncaring. But as I continued to practice this new way of being, I started to see the benefits. I had more energy and enthusiasm for the things that mattered to me. I felt more confident and self-assured in my interactions with others. And perhaps most importantly, I started attracting people into my life who appreciated and respected me for who I truly was. One of the biggest lessons I learned through this process was the importance of setting boundaries. I realized that being kind didn't mean saying yes to everything and everyone. In fact, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to say no. When you set boundaries, you're communicating to others what you will and will not tolerate. You're telling them that you value yourself and your own needs and that you expect to be treated with respect and consideration. And when you do that, you create space for healthier, more balanced relationships in your life. Of course, setting boundaries isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable and even scary at times. But the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And the payoff is well worth the effort. Another important lesson I learned was the power of authenticity. When you're too focused on being kind and pleasing others, it's easy to lose sight of who you really are. You start to mold yourself into what you think others want you to be, rather than being true to yourself. But here's the thing people can sense when you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're holding back or pretending to be someone you're not. And over time, that lack of authenticity can erode trust and connection in your relationships. On the other hand, when you're honest and authentic, you create space for real, meaningful connection. You allow others to see the real you, flaws and all. And when you do that, you build deeper, more intimate relationships based on trust and mutual understanding. Of course, being authentic doesn't mean being rude or insensitive. It's important to balance honesty with tact and compassion, but it does mean speaking your truth even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Ultimately, the key to avoiding the pitfalls of kindness is to find a balance between taking care of others and taking care of yourself. It's about learning to be kind in a way that feels authentic and sustainable rather than draining and depleting. And the good news is when you do that, everyone benefits. When you take care of yourself first, you have more energy and resources to give to others. When you set healthy boundaries, you create space for more fulfilling and reciprocal relationships. And when you're honest and authentic, you inspire others to do the same. So if you're someone who struggles with being too kind for your own good, I encourage you to start small. Start by saying no to one request that doesn't align with your priorities. Start by setting one boundary with someone who tends to take advantage of your kindness. Start by being honest about one thing that you've been holding back. And as you continue to practice these new ways of being, be patient with yourself. Remember that change takes time, and there will be moments of discomfort and even resistance along the way. But trust that by being kind to yourself first, you're ultimately being kind to everyone else in your life as well. Because here's the truth, the world needs more kindness, but it also needs more people who are willing to be kind to themselves. It needs more people who are willing to set boundaries, speak their truth, and take care of their own needs. And when we all start doing that, we create a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves. So go out there and be kind, but remember to be kind to yourself first. Remember that your own needs and desires matter just as much as anyone else's. And remember that by taking care of yourself, you're ultimately taking care of the world around you as well. And if you ever find yourself feeling guilty or selfish for putting yourself first, just remember this: the greatest gift you can give to the world is a happy, healthy, authentic version of yourself. So don't be afraid to prioritize your own well-being, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Because at the end of the day, kindness isn't about being perfect or pleasing everyone around you. It's about being true to yourself and treating others with compassion and respect. And when you learn to balance those two things, you'll find that kindness becomes a source of strength and empowerment, rather than a burden or a weakness. So let's all commit to being kind in a way that feels authentic and sustainable. Let's set boundaries, speak our truth, and take care of ourselves first. And let's trust that by doing so, we're creating a world that is kinder, more compassionate, and more connected than ever before. Thank you for listening to my story and my thoughts on this topic. I hope that my words have resonated with you in some way and that you'll take them to heart as you navigate your own journey with kindness. Remember, you matter just as much as anyone else, and your own needs and desires are valid and important. So be kind to yourself and watch as that kindness ripples out into the world around you. Thank you. Hey there, let's talk about something that's been on my mind lately: emotionally detaching from someone. It's a tough subject, I know, but it's so important to understand how to do this in a healthy way. Because the truth is, sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we need to create some distance between ourselves and another person, whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or even a family member. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about completely cutting someone out of your life. That's not always necessary or even advisable. What I'm talking about is learning how to set boundaries, how to protect your own emotional well-being, and how to avoid getting too caught up in someone else's drama or negativity. So let's dive in. The first rule of emotionally detaching from someone is to recognize when it's necessary. This can be tricky because our emotions can cloud our judgment. We might feel loyal to someone even when they're treating us poorly. We might feel guilty about pulling away even when it's the healthiest thing for us to do. But here's the thing: you have to trust your gut. If you're feeling drained, anxious, or unhappy after spending time with someone, that's a red flag. If you're constantly making excuses for their behavior or trying to fix their problems, that's another sign that you might need to step back. The second rule is to set clear boundaries. This means communicating your needs and expectations clearly and firmly. It might mean saying no to certain requests or invitations. It might mean limiting the amount of time you spend with someone or the topics you're willing to discuss with them. The key is to be assertive without being aggressive. You don't need to be mean or confrontational, but you do need to be direct. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about punishing the other person, it's about taking care of yourself. The third rule is to focus on your own growth and happiness. When we're emotionally entangled with someone, it's easy to lose sight of our own needs and goals. We might put their desires ahead of our own or neglect our own self-care in order to be there for them. But the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, you won't have anything to give to others. So make sure you're prioritizing your own well-being. Pursue your passion, spend time with people who uplift you, and practice self-compassion. The fourth rule is to let go of the need to control the situation or the other person. This can be especially hard if you're a natural caretaker or problem solver. You might feel responsible for the other person's happiness or success, or you might worry that if you're not there to help them, something terrible will happen. But the reality is you can't control anyone else's life or choices. You can offer support and guidance, but ultimately they have to take responsibility for their own actions and consequences. Trying to control the situation will only lead to frustration and resentment on both sides. The fifth and final rule is to give yourself permission to move on. This doesn't necessarily mean ending the relationship altogether, although in some cases that might be necessary. What it means is allowing yourself to let go of the emotional attachment and create a new dynamic that works better for you. This might involve spending less time together, being less emotionally invested, or even just changing the way you think about the relationship. It's okay to grieve the loss of what you had, but don't let that grief hold you back from creating something new and better. Now, I know that emotionally detaching from someone is easier said than done. It can be a long and difficult process, especially if you have a history with that person or if you're prone to people pleasing. But I promise you, it's worth it. When you learn how to set healthy boundaries and prioritize your own well-being, you free yourself up to create more fulfilling relationships and pursue your own dreams. You stop wasting energy on people and situations that don't serve you and start investing in the things that truly matter to you. So if you're struggling to emotionally detach from someone right now, I want you to know that you're not alone. It's a common challenge that many of us face at some point in our lives. But I also want you to know that you have the strength and the wisdom within you to handle it with grace and resilience. Start by taking small steps. Set one boundary at a time. Practice self-care every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Surround yourself with people who support and encourage you. And most importantly, be patient and compassionate with yourself. Remember, emotionally detaching from someone doesn't mean you're heartless or uncaring. It means you're wise enough to know when a relationship is no longer serving you and brave enough to do something about it. It means you value yourself enough to create the kind of life and connections that truly nourish and inspire you. So keep going, keep learning and growing and trusting yourself, and know that on the other side of this challenge lies a whole world of possibility and joy. You've got this, and you deserve nothing less than the very best. Now, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that emotionally detaching from someone can be incredibly painful, especially if it's someone you care about deeply. It's natural to feel a sense of loss or grief, even if you know it's the right thing to do. But here's the thing, that pain is a sign that you're growing. It's a sign that you're breaking free from old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you. It's a sign that you're creating space for something new and better to come into your life. So don't run from the pain. Don't try to numb it or avoid it. Instead, lean into it. Allow yourself to feel it fully without judgment or resistance. Cry if you need to. Scream into a pillow. Write in a journal. Do whatever you need to do to express and release those emotions in a healthy way. And then, when you're ready, start to focus on the future. Start to imagine what kind of life you want to create for yourself and what kind of relationships you want to attract. Use the pain as fuel to propel you forward towards your deepest desires and highest potential. Because here's the thing, you are not defined by your past relationships or experiences. You are not limited by the choices you've made or the challenges you face. You have the power to create your own reality, to shape your own destiny, and to choose who you want to be in this world. So don't let anyone else's negativity or dysfunction hold you back. Don't let your own fears or doubts keep you stuck in a cycle of unhealthy attachments. Trust your instincts, honor your boundaries, and keep moving forward one step at a time. And remember, you are never alone on this journey. There are people out there who will love and support you unconditionally, who will celebrate your successes and comfort you in your failures. Seek them out. Surround yourself with them. Let them remind you of your own strengths and beauty, even when you can't see it yourself. Because at the end of the day, emotionally detaching from someone is not about rejecting love or connection. It's about creating space for the right kind of love and connection to enter your life. It's about saying yes to yourself, yes to your dreams, and yes to the incredible possibilities that lie ahead. So keep going, my friend. Keep growing and learning and evolving. Keep opening your heart to the magic and mystery of this beautiful, messy, complicated world we live in. And know that whatever challenges you face, whatever obstacles you encounter, you have the resilience and the courage to overcome them and to create a life that truly lights you up from the inside out. In the end, emotionally detaching from someone is not about losing something or someone. It's about gaining something, a deeper sense of self, a clearer vision of what you want, and a greater capacity for true, authentic, soul-level connection. It's about learning to love yourself first so that you can love others more fully and freely. It's about creating boundaries that protect your energy and your peace so that you can show up in the world as your best and brightest self. And it's about trusting the journey, even when it feels hard or scary or uncertain. Because the truth is, life is too short to stay stuck in relationships or situations that don't truly nourish and inspire us. We all deserve to feel seen, heard, and valued for who we are. We all deserve to have relationships that uplift us, challenge us, and help us grow into the fullest expression of ourselves. So if you're in the process of emotionally detaching from someone right now, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for being brave enough to listen to your own heart, even when it's telling you something difficult or painful. I'm proud of you for being willing to let go of what no longer serves you, even when it feels scary or uncertain. And I'm proud of you for taking a stand for your own happiness and well-being, even when the world around you might not understand or support your choices. Keep going, my friend. Keep trusting yourself. Keep honoring your own needs and desires, and keep moving forward with courage and conviction. Because on the other side of this challenge lies a whole new world, a possibility, a world where you get to create the kind of life and love that truly sets your soul on fire. And remember, no matter what happens, no matter how hard things get, you are never alone. You are surrounded by a universe that loves you, supports you, and wants to see you thrive. You are connected to a power and a presence that is greater than any obstacle or challenge you could ever face. So lean into that power. Trust in that presence, and know that whatever happens, you have the strength, the wisdom, and the resilience to handle it with grace and ease. You've got this, my friend, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way. It's important to remember that healing is not a linear process. There will be days when you feel strong and empowered, and there will be days when you feel sad, angry, or confused. There will be moments when you question your decision, and moments when you feel more certain than ever that you're doing the right thing. And that's okay. That's all part of the process. The key is to keep moving forward, even when it feels hard or uncomfortable. To keep showing up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it. And to keep believing in your own worth and value, even when others might try to convince you otherwise. One of the most important things you can do as you navigate this process is to surround yourself with a strong support system. This might include friends, family members, or even a therapist or counselor who can offer guidance and perspective. It's okay to lean on others for help and support when you need it. In fact, it's a sign of strength and courage to do so. But it's also important to remember that your healing is ultimately up to you. No one else can do the work for you, and no one else can give you the answers you seek. You have to be willing to look within yourself, to confront your own fears and doubts, and to take responsibility for your own growth and transformation. This might involve some deep soul searching and self-reflection. It might require you to confront some painful truths about yourself or your past relationships. It might mean letting go of old stories or beliefs that no longer serve you and embracing new ones that empower and inspire you. But through it all, remember this: you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. You deserve to be treated with kindness, compassion, and understanding. And you have the power within you to create the kind of life and relationships that truly fulfill you, no matter what anyone else might say or do. So keep going. Keep learning and growing and evolving. Keep surrounding yourself with people and experiences that lift you up and make you feel alive. And most importantly, keep believing in yourself and your own inherent worth and value. Because the truth is, emotionally detaching from someone is not just about letting go of them, it's about making space for something new and better to come into your life. It's about creating room for growth, for joy, for love, and for all the incredible possibilities that await you on the other side of this challenge. And as you do this work, as you continue to heal and transform and evolve, remember that you are not alone. Remember that there are countless others who have walked this path before you, who have faced their own struggles and challenges and come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. Draw strength from their stories, learn from their examples, and know that whatever happens, whatever challenges you face, you have the power within you to overcome them and to create a life that truly lights you up from the inside out. So keep going, my friend. Keep shining your light, keep spreading your love, and keep believing in the incredible power and potential that lies within you. The world needs your unique gifts and talents, and there is so much beauty and magic waiting for you on the other side of this journey. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And know that no matter what happens, you are always, always worthy of the very best that life has to offer. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way. As you continue to emotionally detach from someone, it's important to remember that this process is not about erasing them from your life entirely. It's not about pretending they never existed or denying the impact they had on you. Rather, it's about finding a new way to relate to them, one that honors your own needs and boundaries while still allowing for compassion and understanding. This might mean setting clear limits on how much time you spend together or what topics you're willing to discuss. It might mean learning to communicate in a more assertive and self-protective way. Or it might mean simply changing the way you think about the relationship and the role it plays in your life. Whatever form it takes, remember that emotionally detaching from someone is ultimately a way of caring for yourself. It's about recognizing that your own well-being and happiness matter, and that you have the right to prioritize them in your life. And as you do this, as you learn to put yourself first and set healthy boundaries, you might find that other areas of your life start to shift and change as well. You might find yourself attracting new people and opportunities that align with your values and goals. You might discover new passions or interests that light you up from the inside out. And you might start to see yourself in a whole new light as someone who is strong, capable, and deserving of all the love and joy that life has to offer. So keep going, keep exploring and experimenting and taking risks. Keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and embracing new challenges and adventures. And above all, keep believing in yourself and your own inherent worth and value. Because the truth is, emotionally detaching from someone is not the end of the story, it's just the beginning of a whole new chapter. A chapter where you get to be the hero of your own journey, the creator of your own destiny, and the architect of your own happiness. And as you step into this new chapter, remember that you are not defined by your past relationships or experiences. You are not limited by the opinions or expectations of others. You are a unique and precious soul with your own special gifts and talents to offer the world. So let your light shine. Let your voice be heard. And let your heart lead the way even when the path ahead feels uncertain or unclear. Trust that the universe has your back and that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And above all, remember this: you are loved, you are valued, and you are worthy of all the incredible blessings that life has in store for you. So keep going, my friend. Keep growing and learning and evolving. And know that no matter what happens, you have the strength, the courage, and the resilience to handle it with grace and ease. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way.